Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of the Smashing Skull Sessions. My name is Pat and this week I have a guest from a post-metal, post-rock band who would have started out as more of a sludgy post-metal doom band.
Something.
We can get through to all that afterwards, but I'd like to welcome a band that I've had a love for the last 6 years, as you can probably see from behind me here. I have all their albums. Yeah. A band called We Lost the Sea, and I have guitarist with me, Mark Owen. Mark, an absolute pleasure to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
So thrilled to have you, really. It's been a long time coming, trying to get hold of you. You're a tough man to catch.
I don't mean to be. It's not. No. It's not intentional.
But we've done it. I managed it.
Yeah, we're here.
What can you say? So I suppose I have met you before, haven't I? Because we met back in Dunk 2017.
Yeah, we did.
What an incredible show that was, Mark. Looking back, you know, I would have been a fan, as I said before that. But that show, fuck it, people still talk about it. You know, how did it feel for you?
Yeah, it was. That was crazy. So that was. I think at the time that was the biggest show we'd ever played.
Yeah.
And it was the first show we played out of the country.
That's right.
And
it was a bit of a rush for you, wasn't it? Yeah.
We had a hell of a day. We had a hell of a couple of days. So we had this, we had a bus. And when I say bus, I mean like a stretched van, right? So it's not even like a splitter, like not like one of those Mercedes splitters, like a bus that had been retro fitted out to have like bunks in the back. I think we had 9 bunks.
Wow.
Something. Tiny little tables, everything like this. No aircon, middle of summer, and I
actually remember seeing that rolling up.
We were just like turning up. Yeah, so we the night before we had been driving. I can't remember what the place is called. There's a studio, and went there to record and do like a session where they film it, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And on the way there, we blew a tire on our trailer.
Oh fuck!
And so we standing on the side of the road, had to basically like unload all our gear or whatever, change this tire. We ended up getting there at like 3 a.m. or something. We all just like kind of crashed out, ran in. We didn't know where we were. We were in some weird little tiny village in Germany somewhere. And so we got up and like we did this like session thing and started having fun. And we like had some pizzas and drank a bunch of beer. It was like it was a public holiday too, like
that's right, 1
day or 2 days. Yeah.
That's right.
And then we got then we like left and everyone was like on a high and we're all heaps happy and we had a couple of beers and we're like, we're gonna wake up like real early and be at Dunk and spend the whole day at Dunk and it's gonna be amazing. And then then we woke up on the side of the road somewhere in Germany and our bus driver was asleep and we were just like, what the hell? And I got up and we got off the bus and like we're like, we've got another flat tire and we don't have another tire. And we're hours from Damnation Festival.
No spare
tire. We were just like, we called our manager, like our label manager, Mike Solo. He's the guy who runs Birds Road.
Yeah,
probably seen his name around the traps.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Basically called him. We're like, bro, get us a helicopter, get us something. Like, we don't actually have money for a helicopter, so that's not what we expected. But we just get us there. Anyway, we eventually Daryl, our driver, kind of woke up and we said, like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, apparently there's a service station, like a car place, tire place that opens at 9 or whatever, and it's down the road. And so then we ended up in like this tiny little like village on the side of like this hill. And the dude was, we couldn't spit, like our driver, like he was pretty bad at communicating with people, kind of just like pointed and grunted kind of thing. And this like lovely, like old German dude like came out and like gave us coffee and we were just like, this is the best ever. And he fixed the thing and then we just like powered to Dunk.
Mad.
And I think we got there probably like an hour before we went on or something. So
it's crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't heaps of fun.
But imagine to do all that, Mark, like, and to put on the show that you did, like, you know, it was incredible, like.
Yeah, it felt really good. I think
it was just all felt very natural, I suppose, didn't it? It just fucking happened, like.
Yeah, I think I think the cool thing about it was that like I think everyone was experiencing something. Like it felt like that we were all having an experience together. I didn't feel like that we were up there necessarily like performing and being the band. It felt like that everyone was like having a time. I don't know. That might sound dumb or pretentious or whatever, but
no, I understand, because from where I stood, I felt the same. It just, everything just felt natural, felt real, you know.
It felt like a really shared experience.
Yeah,
and I think, I mean, we'll probably talk more about Departure songs, whatever, but I think that's probably the cool thing about that record, is that like, we don't like feel necessarily like that we really have any ownership over it now. Like we kind of have given it up and it's gone and done its own thing, and now it's kind of like that's the record. And
it is, it's,
some dumb things have been said about it, and like people like talk about it a lot, and which I appreciate all of it, obviously. But sometimes I'm just like, we talk about the same record here, like, and
But it's one of those records, I suppose, that like if anyone asks me, like the Smashing Skull sessions here, like covers all genres of metal, rock, you name it, Mark. But like Departure songs is an album everybody needs to have. There's a moment for it in everyone's life where you need to sit down and listen to this record, like, and I've sort of been pushing it to anyone who sort of will listen to post rock or post metal. I said, listen to that and get back to me in an hour. And man, later they're going, fuck, that was incredible. What an experience. Yeah. But it took me a while to get to it as well, like, because I was listening to post rock for a while, and I just never played it. But I remember one evening I played it, and that was it.
Yeah,
that was it. You know.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
we will probably cover that again in a minute.
Yeah, and then I ran into you near the beers.
Where else?
Yeah, where else? Yeah, I think I ate some food. I just had a shower. That's right. I'm a poor dude on tour in another country. I'm looking for beer as well. So,
but you were getting free beers, weren't you?
I was getting free beers. Yeah, it's like,
and to be fair, you did share me a few.
Yeah, it's the only reason to play music, to be honest. So, I mean, if you can't get free beers, then if America sorted out their catering, then we'd come. That's
everyone hears that. I hope everyone hears that.
Yeah. Come on, USA, like free beers. I actually was speaking to Bruce from Pray for Sound.
Oh yeah,
about some touring stuff and just like chatting and whatever. And he said that when he tours in the US, they don't even have alcohol in their rider, like just because no one gives it to them. And I don't know, this sounds dumb, and it's probably not the topic to talk about, but it's a really unique experience being in Europe. The hospitality is out of this world, and it makes for everyone at Dunk is just so amazing and wonderful. And
Dunk is just one of those unique places, like, isn't it? One of those shows. It's something everybody should witness at some stage in their lives, even though it has changed, as you know, Mark. Like, it's gone from the forest now, it's gone to Ghent. So
it's
a bit of a shame,
year,
like,
right?
Yeah. But come here, look, can we go back to the last 2 years? What have you been up to, lads? Because lockdown and everything that goes with it has been a fucking disaster. Like, so I know a couple have had kids. Am I right? There's been a few.
So Carl is about to become a father.
Okay.
So I think his wife is due in like a week or two.
All right.
And Matt Harvey, he had a little boy last August.
Yeah, I've seen a few pictures online. Yeah, he seems to be enjoying life.
Yeah. So which is funny because
the pictures are showing that anyway. Who knows what happens?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we stopped and we did that. I mean, obviously, the pandemic has
fucked everything up, hasn't it?
Changed everything. Yeah. It hasn't been fun for.
Well, I suppose from a live point of view and touring point of view, it destroyed things for you. Like, but did you make hay while you were in lockdown? Did you record? Did you get together?
So we, so it's like Australia locked down pretty hard for pretty long.
Yeah.
And I think the last like big lockdown we had, I think I didn't see the guys for probably 6 months or something.
All right.
We just before, so I think we about maybe late May, I think we got into a studio and we did some demos.
Oh, very good, yeah.
And some cool stuff came out, but then I don't think we saw each other until like December, maybe, or something. So we've gotten back.
Was it a good thing? Did get away, take time out?
Yeah, I
recharge the batteries and everything else. Like,
yeah, I think so. I mean, we dropped Pipe songs in 2015 and have been busy since.
Right.
And so, I mean, moderately busy. Everyone in the band has like full-time jobs. And
exactly. Everyone has
all
a
that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's right. So when you add in family and that, and trying to write music, play music, tour, and tour, but within the
confines of work and
annual leave that you've got. Exactly right. Yeah. So we're lucky enough to do Europe and then do 2 years of in a row going China, and did a couple of Australian tours, which were all really good. And
I mean, China, Mark, fuck it, that was like,
yeah, man, that's
it
a
sounds so crazy, like, isn't it? We last to see hitting China, and how was it? How was that experience? Because again,
amazing, man.
Barriers, everything else.
So like, I'm the worst person for communicating, even in English. I'm absolutely horrible, and I just have speaking like to the locals.
Yeah,
even saying hi and thank you and stuff, I sucked. Like, I was just like lots of waving and stuff.
Big wave, yeah.
Lots of thumbs ups. But yeah, it was such an amazing experience. Jeff, who is the guy who runs New Noise, he's actually from Belgium, and he went there for uni. He was studying something like ancient Chinese history or something, and he just like fell in love and stayed there. And he's such a gracious host, and his staff are amazing. And we just, we didn't want for anything. We didn't have to stress about anything except getting on and off trains, which is like the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life.
It's down to timing, is it?
Yeah. It's weird because we got high-speed trains a lot of places, and so we'd be standing on the side of a platform with all our gear, waiting to just get on and ram it on and hide it somewhere. So that was a pretty wild experience, but like lots of fun, and we had a ball. And the Chinese audience is incredible. They're really, really responsive and appreciative, and like they make you feel really welcome. And
what size venues were you playing, Mark? What was the capacity?
Bigger than we play here in Australia.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I think we're playing like anywhere. I think the smallest venue would have been like around 500 cap maybe, and the biggest one was like, I think like 1,200 or something like big enough.
Yeah, that's big. I mean, like
bigger than we expected.
Like so.
Yeah, well, so it just seems preposterous to us that anyone would turn up to see us anywhere, let alone doing 10 dates in China. And
it's I think I know you're incredibly humble about it. Like I mean, but the music does speak for itself. I mean, there's a reason people go to see. Like, I mean, your live shows. I mean, the energy that's there anyway, even for a live show. Not to mind the music you have and that you play, but just the energy you bring on stage. Like, I mean, obviously,
it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's like the best thing to do. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like,
is it that much of a high for you playing live? Yeah,
I love it. It's like, it's my favorite thing. Yeah, I think and sometimes we take it as a band. We're like we can be a really serious bunch of guys. We could also take the piss out of everything, but we spend a lot of time assessing ourselves and stressing about like little things that we probably shouldn't stress about.
Exactly.
And sometimes we forget that, hang on, everyone just chill out. We're in like Poland, we're in Warsaw playing a show. Like,
exactly. Try and
relax.
It's hard to take a step back and look at it, is it? And just say, fuck it, let's enjoy this.
Yeah, that's right. I think I mean, it's interesting because I actually I've listened to the live recording of that dunk thing, and I can hear all my mistakes or whatever. But I was thinking about it. And when it first happened, I was like, oh, we should have like filmed that or whatever. But I'd love to go back and actually see it, because I think that first European tour, especially touring with Meniscus, it really like gave us a new perspective. I think because a little bit of us was maybe like a bit overconfident and like, oh, you know, we can do this with our eyes closed. We can just go up and do it. And then watching those guys perform every night, like we'd get up, and I think one of the first 2 or 3 shows, one of them was a bit off, and it was probably because we're pretty hungover and everyone was just like, ah. And then we just watched Meniscus just like destroy every single night, and we're like, we need to like lift our game. And I think that changed our the way we play and the way we do things as a whole band. And it'd be interesting now if that's right. And I think if you saw us play live now, well, I hope if you saw us play live now that you would think that we were better. Yeah. So I think we're definitely a better live band now than we were
back in 2017. Yeah. Again, I suppose everyone just got caught up in the emotion of it all, I think, that night, and that's what made that Dunk experience so special, like, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that's right.
I think just clicked, like, you know,
and the energy was definitely there. I mean, you can actually listen to the record; it's very fast.
It is fast.
It's very excited. And that's okay. I mean,
but like you even mentioned Meniscus, like they were incredible at Dunk as well. I mean, their show was another top show. Yeah, they're
an incredible band. So
again, we could probably spend a day talking about the part.
We could. I suppose.
Let me go back to maybe your earlier stuff, Mark. Widest Place on Earth and Crimea. Yeah. Obviously, I suppose a lot of people in the post-rock know your history, but I suppose others in this Smashing Skull session, fans we call them, are people who watch the show, won't know about the passing of your vocalist. Yeah. I suppose a lot of bands would find that tough to come back from, you know. But you seem to have the hunger to continue. How did that happen? I think, how did it? How did you do that? The answer is that we just kind of had to, not for any reason outside of the band, but it's so we just had released The Quietest Place on Earth, which we had recorded. So when did we release that? 2012, and I think we had recorded that in like March or April of 2011. Okay. And so when we finally released it, we had two guys left, or 3 guys had left, because I think when we recorded that, we had 9 members. We were like the post-rock Slipknot. I just remember we had a call, we had a meeting, not a band meeting. We were meant to have a band rehearsal, and two of the guitarists left at once. Just because things weren't happening, lots of stuff was happening in people's lives. We were young. Yeah, exactly. 10 years ago, I was 25, and I was the second, and I was the second oldest in the band by like a bit. And Chris, our singer, Torpy, we were kind of standing around, and me and the other guys, I was done. I was like, you know what, I'm done. Let's just put the record. I'll go home. I'll just put the record up online. And Chris was like, no. He said, no, it's not happening, dude. Like, this is it. This is what I've got. This is like all I've got. This is all I want to do. Like, you know, you're not doing this. I'm going to do something. He's like, we call Matt Harvey, we call him Turtle. Don't even know why, but that's his nickname. And he said, I'll call Turtle. And I was like, yeah, go on. Hey, tell him. And I think I said something like, tell him he can't use any of his own gear or something, because he was playing in a hardcore band. Or had been. And and so he called and that kind of thing. And he jumped in, and we're like, all right, let's do this. And so we just released the record. And so we released that December, I think like 12th, 2012 or something. Yeah. And then we did like a really small, like 4-date
national little. I say national. I mean, Australia is massive, right? So it's a huge country, but not many people live in it, for one, and they don't live. They all kind of live in the same
just
spot.
in the sections, the big
So it's like it's like Sydney, Melbourne, some people in Brisbane, and then if you have to go to Adelaide, you go to Adelaide. And people from Adelaide are going to be upset about that, but Adelaide's a beautiful place. So we did that, and Chris was in a pretty bad spot, I think then. And then he passed away not too long after that, and just before he had passed away, we had found out that we were meant to open for This Will Destroy You, and that was going to be our first big show. We just played. We had just played with Rosetta.
Okay,
and that was a lot of fun, and we'd done really played really well and smashed it, and thought, this is all off to a good start. It's going to be sick. And then Chris passed away, and we played that show without him. We played an instrumental set.
Okay.
And then the plan was essentially we're just well, what's the plan? What are we going to do? And we kind of talked about it, and we never really honestly, we never really talked about calling it a day. And I think
okay.
I think people can think about it, whatever, but I think I just said no, fuck him. If I'm not stopping doing what I love because of this or whatever. Obviously, I love the dude, and I wish he was here and all that kind of shit. But I just was this. This is what
you want to do, and I always did.
I enjoy doing, and now I want to keep doing it. And we just were well, let's just start writing, and we'll see what happens, and we'll talk to some people about vocals and all that kind of stuff. And we just started writing, and we had one guy who was a really good friend of Chris's, and he's a great vocalist, and he came down and he actually burnt through some of the old songs with us. Yeah. And we were oh, could be a good fit. It could sound real good. And then we ended up playing a weird set where we played with, did you ever hear that band of Red Paintings?
No, that's new to me.
They're like I wouldn't even know how to explain them. I think our label guy Mike was managing them for a while or something, and they're this, I want to say goth rock, but not goth rock, kind of avant-garde.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, and they were a bit they were real quirky. They had artists would come on stage and paint pictures as the band was playing. And
okay, I've seen that being done before, actually.
It was it was all cool or whatever. And we ended up opening for them or something. And the guy who was going to sing for us came and watched, and halfway through the set he just disappeared, and then we didn't really hear from him again. So we're just oh, that's that. Actually, I think he messaged our drummer and was sorry man, I just can't do it. And we were just okay. And then we were just cool, well, let's just see what happens. And then we just started writing, and at some point we're just I guess we're instrumental now. This is
just the way it is.
This is just the way it is, and we didn't know what we were doing. We had no idea how to be an instrumental band. We'd spent 5 years as a band trying to be Cult of Luna. So
no, I get you.
And then we just were all right, I guess we just keep going, and I think that's
So even going back to those albums, Mark, are you playing them live at all? Do you ever play any tracks from them, or is it a plan to in the future now?
We played. So after we got back from Europe, we actually did a tour where it was 5 years of The Quietest Place on Earth.
Yeah,
and we played the majority of the songs from the record. Did a tour, and another one of our mates came along and did vocals, and he's got a really big voice, and he's really good, and it felt really good. It was really fun. It was really cool.
Yeah.
To go back and kind of do it. And we play Balaclava Cold from the first album, occasionally.
Yeah.
We play that we can play the instrumental because it's 2.5 minutes long, and it's heavy, and it's feels fun. But we've done it a couple of times with a different vocalist here or there, someone who knows gets up and has a crack.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, I was wondering, was there a chance of maybe again touring either album and bringing a guest vocalist along, or
Well, we ended up in 2019. We did a national tour with just our album launch tour for Triumph and Disaster, and in Sydney and Melbourne we did two old songs as well. We played for something dumb I don't know, an hour and a half or something, or whatever. Like we played so long, it was so dumb. And we had two guys get up who were both great vocalists.
Yeah.
And we closed out the set with like Bark and Charge from Quiet Place on Earth and then Balaclava.
Oh, brilliant.
But we actually had like people leaving en masse, you know, who were just like, whoa, I saw this guy, he was an older guy, he like grabbed his wife by her hand and like charged out of the venue.
Strange.
And I get it was weird, and I had this thing after, and I was like, well, that's the band we like used to be.
Yeah.
And the band we are now is this band, and we should you know, we obviously want to respect and be, you know, pay, I guess, attention to where we came from and musically and all that kind of stuff. But also the majority of our fans are from when we became instrumental. And I don't know, maybe they should have had more of a heads up. I don't know how, but it felt weird. Like I felt like there was two different kind of,
like, was it a chapter closed basically? Was it, do you think?
I really felt like, at the time I was like, you know what, I think it's time we put that away. And and so we've got it's actually 10 years of The Quietest Place on Earth this year.
That's right.
And we were talking about like touring and playing songs for it and stuff, and I was just like, sorry, how do I go? And I was just like, I was like, I don't know if we need to. Like, I don't know if we need to or want to. Maybe we've actually always talked about like at some point playing like all the records or whatever, and like just supporting ourselves and playing like 3 sets or something. Just like we always talk about dumb shit like that, but I think unless we did something where it was like a really like big homage to our whole back catalogue, I doubt that they're going to pop in and out.
I get you.
And and like in terms of like the guest vocalists moving forward or whatever, like we definitely haven't like shut that off and aren't opposed to it. But it's not something that we're actively seeking right now.
I suppose go, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying, like, I mean, like whatever about the older records. I mean, even Triumph and Disaster, like, which came out in 2019. Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, that didn't get the chance to tour properly. Sure, didn't because of COVID and because of restrict. I mean, it's an awful shame, like that album didn't get to be shared with everybody, just like Departure Songs did, because it was a great follow-up, a very strong album. Yeah. And I think it went a bit under the radar because of the timing. So would you consider touring that album again?
I would. I definitely still want to play that. I think whatever we write, whatever is being written currently and stuff like that, until we do Europe again. At the moment it's in the works for end of this year and hopefully summer next year. And until we get to do Australia again and play it, it's we're not done with it. So it's just kind of on hold at the moment. It's actually it's this, some of those tracks are like the best live songs we have. Like Parting Ways live is off its head, and Towers live is like
Towers. Fuck it, what a track, man.
Yeah, you get to the end and like I'm just ecstatic that I've lasted that long. But I also it's fun. It's big. It's huge.
It's huge.
It feels real good. And I think the starkness of the recording of the record doesn't actually show the magnitude of that track.
I get you.
So,
it's definitely for a live environment. I think that track and it Towers.
Because
it is colossal. Like it. I mean, that was the first. Was that the first track you released from that album? Actually, did you release that first Towers?
Yeah, we did. We did on purpose. So we were just like, what is the least like A Gallant Gentleman? And we're just like Towers. All right,
a polar opposite to that. Like,
let's do it. 20 minutes.
It was like, fuck it. I walked listening to it. In the car, everyone who sat in my car had to endure repeated Towers for maybe 2 months solid. It was crazy.
Excellent. Yeah, I do like that track. It's a great track.
So let me go to something I spotted during the week there, Mark. Damnation Festival. Yeah. And there's your name on the...
That's dumb.
It's crazy, man, isn't it?
It's very dumb.
It is crazy.
If someone told
how did it happen? Who made contact?
So I've got a bit of Gavin. He's saying I think he's getting just they just. I don't know if they got in touch. We've got a European booker now who works closely with Mike. I don't know if we punished them or they asked us. Actually, I do. I'm pretty sure that they asked us, and initially they asked us if we would play. They actually they wanted us to play Departure songs in full.
Okay.
And so they wanted our first, because we haven't played the UK yet.
Yeah.
So because we did, and they wanted our first UK show to be there. And this was because we were meant to play Portals in 2000 and I want to say 20, and then that's been pushed back, and then that's been pushed, and then now the dates don't line up, and so hopefully we're getting to Portals soon. But so when this November run we started talking about doing came up, we had a couple offers, and they initially wanted us to play Departure songs, and I think they were going to make it kind of worth our while, and we were like, oh no. And so we kind of we would love to, but we're like, this it's pretty, we didn't really know much about it. We're just like, oh nah, let's not do that, or whatever. And then and I remember I googled the festival, but so it's because it's gone back to Manchester now, right? So
that's right.
So when I first googled it, I googled the festival, but I googled it for Manchester, and then I was trying to find photos or whatever. And I think it might have been there in the first year or two or something, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or something like that. And so all these tiny little venue photos came up, and I was just like, this is going to be interesting. And then I saw an email chain, and someone was like, oh, they're announcing this festival, and I was like, okay, it's going to be one of those little festivals or whatever, which is fine. And then I saw the poster, and I was like, hang on, does it actually say Converge? And we were just like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on?
This is mad, Converge Ministry at the gates. I mean,
when they announced it at the gates the other day, I was just like, this is getting dumber. Full of hell, because I mean, we as a band, we probably listen to a lot of stuff, obviously, but we come from the heavier side of stuff. All the dudes were playing in hardcore bands growing up, and math metal bands or whatever. And Carl, one of our guitarists, he still plays in a band called Low, who toured Europe, and they're on Pelagic, and I think they were on Pelagic, but heavy stuff. And so to see all these bands, if someone had told me when I was 18, 19, listening to You Found Me, that I was going to play with that band one day, I'd be like, nah, that's dumb.
It's crazy.
Don't joke about that.
It's brilliant to see, just such a diverse mix. I suppose it's great to see bands like that playing in the same show. It's someone knows what they're doing, who's curating that absolutely
that kind of festival,
and they're pushing Departure songs on you, so from start to finish. Yeah.
Well, we haven't done it in the UK, so I guess we'll do it at some point.
Yeah.
But it'll be about finding the right time to do it, and I don't know if playing to a festival of a bunch of half-cut dudes from Manchester is the time to bust it out. So
it'll be interesting, that's for sure. And
just walk out on stage and start playing Gallant, and it'll be like the scene from the Blues Brothers, where they behind the screen, they don't play Rawhide, and they play all these other songs, and dudes are hooking bottles. We're just people throwing pies at us or something.
Maybe. I suppose we'll take this opportunity here, Mark, to play a bit of your music, okay?
Cool.
I decided on Challenger Part 2, which is a favourite track of mine, so let's just give it a blast now. Can you still hear me? me every time. Fucking hell, son.
Yeah, it's a good riff.
You don't even want to stop it. I'm gonna stop that here soon after, right? So there guys, you have it. That is the amazing Challenger Part 2 from Departure Songs. So, tell me Mark, as a guitarist, do you enjoy experimenting with your sound?
I'm just looking, yeah.
Yeah?
I was just thinking about that song.
Go on. What was your thoughts on the song?
Yeah, so you kept saying Part 2, but that's Part 1. That's right. Because I don't know if you're going to edit in Part 2. And I was
we just go with it. I made a mistake. Fuck it. I made a mistake. It's all right. That's all good.
Actually, so we actually wrote Part 1 almost in like one go without even meaning to.
Yeah.
So Matt Harvey had that riff, the Whitley riff. We just called the Challenger riff or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember we were in this studio in Sydney, and like a rehearsal room, like not a proper studio, and he was playing that. Well, that's kind of cool, whatever. And then kind of the first chords of the actual whole song kind of got bumped around or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're just like working on some ideas. And Brendan and Matt were doing this call and response thing, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I just played this like 2 notes over the top of it for about 40 minutes, and and then we just started just jamming and like playing it out, and it kind of did the build thing or whatever. Then it just cut, and I just my hand just like went, and I started playing like the next bit where the slide guitar is, and Matt kind of just was like, "Oh," and then grabbed a slide and started playing, and then we just kind of did that whole thing, and that whole first thing. Probably came together in like 3 hours or something.
Wow.
Like for most of it. I mean, obviously we had to then like work it out and change it and make it better. But as a chunk of music, we kind of just hit that.
There, yeah.
Yeah, so that song is kind of particularly special, I guess, because it kind of, I guess it gave us the confidence to be like, hang on, we could actually like do this. We can write some music and.
So was that one of the first tracks?
That was the first.
Songs? It was the first. Okay.
Yeah, so that was the first, and then Bogatiri was the last.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then there's only like 2 other songs on there or whatever, but, you know, like...
yeah, for those that will soon find out, the tracks do Or they're more than your 3-minute track, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, that Gallant, the first song was meant to be like a 3-minute song.
Was it?
So yeah, I wrote it at home. I think I was living in Redfern in the suburbs of Sydney, and like the sun was like kind of setting into. I was in a unit, and we had like this balcony. I had the balcony open, and it was like setting into the room. And I just remember on a little practice amp with like one delay pedal kind of plugged in, and just playing this idea over and over again. And I was like, wow, this is cool. This could be like an intro. Mm-hmm. And so the idea was, when I took it to everyone, I was like, this is like an intro. Like, we play this, and then it does the thing, and then we like play a real song.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I specifically remember our drummer Dugo, like Nathaniel, kind of just like crossing his arms and being like, yeah, I don't know about that. It's all right or whatever. And I was like, it's all right. We can work it out. And then it just like, I guess it kind of took off.
Just became what it is now. Yeah. And again, look, another incredible track. I mean, the whole album speaks for itself. Like, but getting back to the question I asked you, Mark.
Yeah, sorry, man. I do. I mean, I have a really bad habit of buying and selling way too much gear.
Yeah.
And I will like buy a pedal or a guitar or whatever without ever playing it. And sometimes then I'd sell it without ever playing it. So, and so I've had a dumb amount of gear, and I've probably lost a dumb amount of money if I did the maths. But in my head, I'm like, well, I just sold that amp, and now I have $3,000, and so I can spend $3,000.
There's no logic to it, but it just happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely just happens. But just recently, the last like couple of months or so, or whatever, I've set up a proper home setup. Mm-hmm. Not too crazy. I've got like a pedal board that sits on my computer desk because I've got a tiny little house.
Yeah.
And I'm just running it through like an Iridium, like a amp mod, like emulator thing. Okay. But it's given me a chance to actually like dive into some pedals that I haven't had a chance to spend lots of time with. Okay. But I'm like, I love pedals. I love delays. I'm right into delays. I mean, obviously, but
it's part of the post rock recipe, really, isn't it? You can't.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I mean, one of the things that I try, I guess, interestingly enough, is up until recently, I never really wrote with like my electric or effects or anything. Like, most of the time, I've just got like an acoustic downstairs in my lounge room and one in my bedroom. And I just like pick them up and play, and that's how I have written a lot of the stuff of mine that's made it into the band.
So it does it's not a case of you going in, locking yourself into a room with your guitars and I must come up with something. No, it's a case of pick it up when you're sitting around.
I think so. With when we were writing Triumph and Disaster, I was trying to do that a lot.
Yeah,
and having a really bad time doing it, and we kind of came up with the concept for the record before and what we wanted to talk about, and the theme kind of set the mood, which kind of set the tone of the songs.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like just a little bit outside of like what I write, like the things that naturally come to me, because I naturally write like pretty chordal stuff or like really like repetitive stuff that kind of like swells and builds or whatever.
Yeah.
And that record like initially started, and I guess is mostly but pretty stark and like moody, like I guess a different mood, but like it feels more like it feels more like you're reading Cormac McCarthy's The Road than like something nice or whatever, and which is what we went for, and I guess we got that.
Yeah.
But it was a real struggle for me personally. I wasn't in the best like headspace throughout the whole thing anyway, and so a lot of the writing of the coming up with the initial ideas, whatever, kind of fell on Matt's shoulders, and he is a guy who will lock himself in a room and sit and just be like, this is what's happening, and I'm spending the next 10 hours working hard, whereas I'll like sit and be like, oh, that's a cool idea. And I'll be like, that's the best idea I've ever written, and sent to everyone. I'm like, oh, that sucks. Oh, cool. I can't remember how to play it anyway, so don't worry about it. Let's just keep going.
But I suppose that's Matt's artistic side coming through, is it the fact that he can actually lock himself in a room and do something like that, because he does the artwork.
That's right. Yeah.
You know,
So he is able to like click into that, and not to say that he can't do the creative, like on the spur moment stuff and all that kind of stuff. We just have different writing styles, and which on the last record didn't benefit me, but I found it really difficult to like really inject myself, like in terms of my actual riffs and writing into that record. And so the new stuff we're writing, I feel is not more collaborative, because that sounds like the other one wasn't collaborative, but it's I feel like that I've kind of found my creative voice again.
Good.
And I'm able to contribute more meaningful ideas and better. And because I guess I'm part of my role, I guess, writing or whatever, often can be that I can like put things almost like storyboard songs quickly in my head. And sometimes, because I'm not the best communicator, I go like, oh, what is this? And people are just like, what are you talking about? I'm like, just trust me, bro. It's going to be great.
Give me a marker. Let me draw this.
Just like do this, and the thing with the singer does this, and the cha-cha, you do this, and people are just like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Trust me. And they're like, all right, just play.
Trust in Mark going, huh?
But yeah, so I've actually been able to spend a lot of time with my pedals this time, and
that's great, yeah.
And I love it. I love gear. It's such a bad obsession to have. It costs so much money. If people want to throw me free gear, I have no morals. I'll say how
there's no harm in asking. There's no harm in asking.
That's right. Yeah.
But actually,
sorry, I'll keep talking otherwise.
Speaking of guitarists, you have an additional guitarist now, don't you? And Carl Whitbread.
Yeah. Carl
is he a full-time member of the band now?
He is a full-time member of the band now. So when we came to Europe, he was just like playing with us. Yeah. He was like just a mate, kind of helping out. Yeah. And we have whittled him down and berated him enough that he gave in and was like, okay, I'll join your fucking band or whatever. No, Carl's great. He's a legendary dude. He's a great guitarist.
Yeah,
he's a
great guitarist,
smart-minded guy. He's a designer as well. He does all his own band stuff, and he's just the right guy to have in the band. So he has a lot of other stuff going on musically. He's doing a lot of stuff with Low and things like that. But he's the right fit for the band.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's going to give the live experience another edge, isn't it, Mark? Like, as amazing as you sound already. I mean, wow. Like,
yeah. Well, he played with us at Dunk. He was there at Dunk. And before that, we always had the three guitarists. So, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how
there's more ideas, isn't there? Fresh ideas coming in from, like, how involved is he in the writing of the current music?
So with the last record, he kind of like got involved kind of right towards the end. He purposely and very openly was like, I don't want to write.
Okay.
And I don't want, he writes very, because he's like Low, he writes all the songs for Low. He's like metal band, hardcore band or whatever. And so he's another guy who sits at home and just like works away, chips away. And we're like, we always, I don't know if it's like because we don't want to do the hard work or whatever. We're always like, we feel like a vibe band. Like we like to get in the room and feel the vibe and feel it all good. And he just like was like, this is how I work or whatever. But he definitely towards the end he got involved and was more involved. And this time he's having a baby, so he was definitely around for the early demos that we did of the new stuff. Now we're kind of chipping away at little bits and pieces, so it's not so like detrimental that he's not there when we're writing. But he'll definitely like jump back in, I guess, after the baby and stuff. We're in no hurry to write this new record. We still have to tour Triumph Disaster.
Exactly.
And,
yeah. You're 2 years behind, really, aren't you? Everybody is
everything's just been put on
live,
pause,
like,
right?
it is. Yeah.
And it's
So,
still
like,
been. I mean, sorry.
Triumph and Disaster. I mean, is that what you're actually touring in when you come to Europe? We'll say this year.
I guess.
I guess that's the plan.
That's so we'll be playing stuff off obviously the last 2 records.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard when your songs are so long to like kind of find a balance in the set list. And without playing for too long, I mean, I'm sure like it feels like I guess when you're like initially you're like, oh sure, people will love to see us play for an hour and 40 minutes, and you're like and then like when you're halfway through that set and you're tired and people are like, oh man, come on, another build, like we get it, all right, yeah, you've got delay, we get it. And so that's like part of touring and working out.
They'd be asking for the radio edition, will they, Mark? Yeah, the radio edition.
We'll just cut everything in half. We'll just play it quicker. We'll just give you the Dunk 2017 version of everything. It'll be 3 times as fast. Yeah, that's right. I think that record's only 55 minutes long, and the original is like an hour and 7 minutes or something. So you can do the math yourself. It's pretty quick. But yeah, we'll be playing that. But I mean, we'll still play stuff from Departure songs, obviously. And
but this is Triumph and Disaster's opportunity here now to get a bit of coverage, and deserved coverage, because it, as I said, it just fucking fell at a bad time now.
Yeah, I think it definitely. I mean, one of the cool things that I've noticed during the pandemic, and especially like with post-rock music in particular, fans are so like supportive.
Yeah.
And once they're like kind of a fan of your band, like they're in no hurry, like they're not going anywhere.
No, you're right.
We're not, we're all like dudes in our mid-30s or early 40s. We're not like a fad band. We're not cool. We're not, attractive or.
That doesn't look attractive. Look at that artwork. That artwork is attractive, man.
Yeah, the artwork is outrageous. So
it is crazy.
It's really good.
Another angle to it all, isn't it? The artwork is incredible. Matt's work there is
he works himself to death.
Does he?
Like, so when he does the art for stuff, it's I can't imagine it's a fun time for anyone in his house. And he literally puts like his soul into it. And it works very, very hard at it. And I mean, the results speak
it shows like it exactly. It does, like, fuck. I mean, there's reading and there's it's the complete listening experience, isn't it? You have the album playing, the artwork depicting every song. I mean, it's a fucking thing of beauty. Like,
it's a lot of fun, and it's pretty like when you see it all together and stuff. It's I feel very lucky that we that he's involved and that we
something very proud of, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's. I actually think that, as we said, that the Triumph Disaster stuff dropped at the wrong time or whatever. But I feel like the art from that hasn't really had enough attention drawn to it.
No, exactly. You're spot on.
Yeah, because it's like I think it's pretty phenomenal and in its own right. Like even just as a standalone art, I think it's fantastic. So I mean, sometimes these things just take time and
2022 should be the year for it, so hopefully all going well. All going well. Now, basically talk about 2022 and coming to Europe and doing Damnation. Are you going to be doing some smaller gigs in and around?
Yeah, we're going to do.
Have you something planned already?
Yeah, so I think it's mostly booked. It's going to be. We're going to try and do probably 2 solid weeks of shows.
Brilliant.
I can't tell you where they are right now.
Okay.
I kind of know where they are, but the plan is to then come back in summer 2023, and all the people who missed out in November, hopefully we get to them the rest of the time, and maybe if Dunk will have us back, we can play Dunk again. If you're listening,
I would say there's no fear there. I'd say you'd be welcomed with open arms. And obviously, if you're in the UK, Ireland isn't too far away. Like, it's only a stone throw.
Yeah.
If you want to come over, I must do
I'd love to. Our bass player's whole family background he's from Ireland.
Oh, great!
And he's been there, and he doesn't say much, and he drinks a lot, so he'll fit right in.
Oh, sure. he's already home.
yeah.
So, the new album, Mark, will we? I know, obviously, there's no set times or any agenda at the moment, but will we be seeing it this year? Do you think? Or are you going to give this year to Triumph and Disaster? Basically, this is the year for it, isn't it?
Yeah, so. I would say that maybe if we get back to European summer of 2023, that you might start seeing some stuff live. Great and then stuff. Maybe late 2023, I would expect that we'll drop the album.
Brilliant.
We're booking some stuff for local now at the moment, some local stuff that if it comes together, it'd be pretty exciting for us with the stuff that we're looking at, and I guess the time that we had aside for writing and recording this year might be taken up a little bit with touring. But if it's not, and if shit falls through, and if the pandemic kicks off again, and if November is postponed again, then you'll see the record sooner.
Okay, so great stuff. Once we see it at some stage, Mark, that's all that matters, really.
Yeah,
we have plenty to keep us going in the meantime,
that's right.
Such amazing music you have.
Oh, thanks so much, man.
So before I wrap up, I just want to ask. I want to try and ask every guest.
I did
3 questions.
I did think about these.
Good. So my first one obviously is if you could record any song from any time of any genre of music.
That's
what would it be? To walk into the studio and play and record a track.
Do I have I written this track?
No. It could be.
I just get to play on it.
You get to play on it.
Oh, see, it's gonna sound dumb, but it would probably be something off. Something like it would probably be off a night at the Opera by Queen.
Yeah,
it'd be something off that record. Yeah, I just grew up. That was like the first record I remember ever hearing and being obsessed with. And I could probably sing you the whole record, start to finish. Still, no, I know all the solos in my head. I can't play any of them because Brian May's good, and I'm not. But I guess probably something from that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Nice choice. Yeah,
I was thinking about it. Well, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I could say like Radiohead or Godspeed or I mean, even like going in and recording like guitar on like Dim or something by like one of those like tracks that like changed everything for me. But I was just like, it's got to be something.
That's a great call, Mark. I like it.
Yeah.
And the other question was, if you could walk on stage and play a few tracks with another band, past or present, if you were to be a guest on the stage.
It's so hard. I thought about this again, and I was doing some hard thinking, and I was like, it's got to be some crazy stadium band, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm never going to play a stadium, so it's got to be a stadium band. And then I was like, well, it's got to be. And then I was like, I don't want to just be like any stadium band. It's got to be like a Nebworth live, a Nebworth kind of band, and then I think, not that I like love them or anything like that, but it'd have to be like a band like Foo Fighters or something, right? Like Foo Fighters, or like actually, you know what? It'd be like Oasis at the peak for sure, right? And just like to have the crowd like singing songs and stuff. That's got to be.
It must be like some sensation up there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like I feel good when like 200 people are just clapping, and I can't imagine, like hundreds of thousands of people singing your songs. That would be brilliant. Like just brain melting.
So there you go, Queen and Oasis. Two.
Yeah. I mean, the other answer is always Godspeed. So always. It
was default to Godspeed.
Yeah.
No, two great choices. Two great choices.
Be really upset by me, but whatever.
And one more question. 2022, can you give me a name of a band or an album to look out for?
Yeah, so this is easy. It's the same one I say every time I get asked this question. I have for the last 10 years. It's Tangled Thoughts of Leaving. So, band from Perth, Australia.
Yeah.
They're on Dunk. They're on our label. They're putting out, I'm pretty sure that they're definitely recording at the moment. The record might come out this year. And they are just the most phenomenal band live that I have ever seen. I think they're up top 5 of the best things I've ever seen, and they just are the loveliest people as well.
Brilliant.
But they're ferocious, and in a way that not many other bands are. It's such a visceral live experience when you see them, and they're so big. They're made for big stages. They are I saw them play at a pretty big venue here in Sydney supporting Slim Makes Waves, and they just were out of this world. They were big, tight. Yeah, the sounds are good. The songs are good, and they're difficult. They can be a difficult band to digest.
Okay.
But they put out a record. I think it might have been the same year as Departure Songs came out. Maybe a year later or a year before. Okay. It's called Yield to Despair. And if you haven't heard it, you need to stop whatever you're doing and listen to it, because it's brilliant. It's an incredible start to finish. It's bleak and it can be a tough listen, but the interplay between all the instruments, it's just incredible. And the record after that's really, really good as well. And they've been writing really hard. And they've got a new drummer who she's been around for a while, but she hasn't written, I don't think, with them before. And so they're writing now with her, and she's my favorite drummer to watch, I think. And so that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Tangled Thoughts of Leaving from Perth.
Great, thanks for that, Mark. That's another great mention, because I do enjoy Tangled Thoughts of Leaving as well.
Yeah, great band.
Yeah. Mark, I could sit here for hours, I'd say, and chat with you, because I didn't even get to talk about the scene in Australia and what the live music scene is like there and everything else. But I hope maybe we might get another opportunity down the road. We might have another chat.
Yeah, I mean, if we start playing it now, we'll probably have to do it by the time 2027 comes around or something. So.
Exactly, yeah. But look, Mark, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, man, for coming on.
Oh, thank you, man.
It's been a joy to chat with you. As I said last time we spoke was 2017.
Good to see you face to face.
Face to face again, yeah. Without the beard on me, without the beer goggles.
Yeah, you're better looking. It's okay.
Thanks, Mark. Cheers. So look, come here. I wish you and the band all the best in 2022. Okay, I wish you all the best so much, with the tour of Triumph and Disaster, and hopefully Damnation goes well for you, and everything else. Yeah,
I hope so. I just want to stand side of stage and watch Converge, really. So
you'd have to go on at some stage. There you go. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But
that's right.
Mark, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much,
thanks so much, man.
And we catch up again another time. All right.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, man. Thanks everyone for tuning in and for listening to Mark and myself. Stay tuned next week. We'll have another band to talk about, and hopefully I'll see you there. Take care, everyone.